Hello ladies and gents, and welcome to Ely Place, St Ethelreda's Church, and home to one of London's oldest pubs, or the site of one of London's oldest pubs. This street is one of London's best preserved Georgian streets, as you can see by the houses. But where we're going, because the pub is sometimes hard to find if you don't know the area, I had to ask directions because there's no signage for it or anything. You go down this little courtyard here. To our pub, which was founded in 1546. Ye Olde Mitre. The original was built in 1546. That burned down in around 1732 and was replaced with this one here. The original Samuel Pepys used to drink in. He mentions the mitre several times in his diaries. And all I can say, if you like old pubs, come and visit this one. You will not be disappointed. Down London's old streets and alleyways as well, which is something I quite like. It takes you down that way to various areas. We shall go in, shall we? And in we shall go to this little tiny bar first, which tells you a little bit about the history of it. So. You've got the Mitre Tavern, built by Bishop Godric in 1546. The cherry tree marks the boundary between the Bishop's Garden and the part leased to Sir Christopher Hatton. And if you look up, look, there's all the old tankards and everything on the walls there. There's the bar. Sorry, cheers.
About 5 we missed the 5 o'clock crush on the triangle. Oh, sorry, missed that. Some 5 o'clock. Young up, huh? Who's next? Well, young boy, actually. Whether we want to get there, go down to the tube, or just jump on the bus and get down to
Look at the old windows, look, the old handmade glass with the bullseyes things in, and that we see on that post the other day. Alright, we'll go back outside and into the main bit now. Back outside, and we'll be going into the main bit of the pub now. Taylor Walker Heritage Inn, by virtue of its historic interest. It's got a garden round here, look. John Duggan, erudite social commentator, raconteur, occasional shipbroker, formed many of his strongest opinions on this spot. August 2002, December 2018. It's got a little garden, so we'll check that out first. Then we'll go inside, because it gets busy quick, this place. St Ethelreda's Church there, which unfortunately I think is closed today, which it says online that it's open. I did try ringing, but alas. Lounge bar. We shall go in there now, so I'll pause you for a minute because there are people in there. I don't like filming without people's consent. Now we are in the main part area. Wow, look at that lot. That's amazing, look at that. Got loads of pictures on the wall. Samuel Johnson.
Thanks, Dave.
Cheers. Are you sucking? Well, okay, I'll sell this.
I was there.
That's the first spilled beer in this place. Starts with 500 years.
The old closet in here, which is like a little quiet area. I want to find down.
I won't because it's still
What's gambling?
Okay, we're gonna try and line up here. I see.
You want me to take one fire?
Oh, that'd be awesome. Thanks.
Do you do the 16 by 9?
What's the significance of the cups here?
Just like old school. So I think mostly for whiskies. So like when you have a whiskey, you have like water with it as well. Oh,
Yeah, I see.
pour a little bit of water in the whiskey.
I was gonna say that's a big whiskey.
Pint of whiskey, please.
Shaken, not stirred.
I'd be dead if I had a pint.
Can you get a wider angle view from there?
I know.
So we should go to the upstairs area now. There's an upstairs to this one as well. The bishop's room. That sounds interesting. Book swap. That's a good idea. I like those. You know, like the book repositories. I've got some books, funny enough, that I've read 8 million times or more. Ginger the cat goes to church every day too. The Daily Mirror, Thursday, November the 28th, 1935. One of the most regular attendants at St Ethelberga's Chapel, Ely Place, EC, is Ginger the cat, who goes to church every day. He even has a special pew of his own, according to the priest. Ginger, a sleek, demure-looking feline, demure-looking fellow, belongs to Mrs. Gould of Olde Mitre Tavern, Hatton Garden. Every morning, Ginger sits out of the house, glides in along the passage, communicating with Ely Place, and is present while early mass is celebrated in the beautiful old chapel, and then to breakfast. For more than 2 years, Ginger has been in his appointed new every morning, rain, hail or snow, said Father J.J. O'Neill, assistant rector to St Ethelreda's. Just before 7:15, he can be seen making his way from the tavern along Ely Place. Slowly around the old cloister he walks, and up the steps into the church to his usual seat, where he remains silent and motionless until the service is over. Then he goes out the same way. He generally waits for me outside, and we go in to breakfast together, where Ginger enjoys his saucer of milk with a dash of tea. That's what I mean about things like that. I love things like that, little bits of history. Newgate Clock Company, London. Mad to think we've been walking in the footsteps of Pepys as well as many other famous and historical Londoners. So yeah, hope you've all enjoyed this one, ladies and gents. Join me all on the next one. I'm going to finish my beer now. And as we leave Olde Mitre Tavern, I'll take you for a little stroll for something interesting. For its courtyard. A couple of interesting things actually. Let's point you up a minute. Thank you. Thanks. And out into Hatton Gardens from Olde Mitre Tavern. All the jewellery shops. Something coming up on the corner, well, a couple of things actually of interest. It's cold in London today, I must admit. As you can see, there's jewellery shops on either side. It's obviously the jewellery quarter of London. Point you down a minute. Just over there, 89 and 90, that's where the Hatton Garden heist happened. That's one of our interesting things. The other one I shall take you to now. If you've seen St Andrew's Holborn, you'll remember the blue coat charity boys and girls from the school. This is a decent link to that, so and it's just here on the corner. God, it's really cold today. stinks of weed along here as well, must admit. And here we are. Our building is coming up here. When the old St Andrew's Holborn Church was destroyed, this building here was built or commissioned by Sir Christopher Hatton to plans by Sir Christopher Wren apparently as the new St Andrew's Holborn Church, but was later converted into the parochial charity school for St Andrew's Holborn, and there are two of the charity boys and girls up there, and there's a plaque on the wall here. This building, reputed to be from designs by Sir Christopher Wren, was erected as a church by Lord Hatton to serve the needs of the neighbourhood after St Andrew's Holborn had been destroyed in the Great Fire of London of 1666. It was adapted for use as a charity school about 1696, severely damaged by incendiary bombs during the 1939-45 war, and has since been reconstructed internally to provide offices, the original facade being restored and retained. The figures of the scholars in 18th century costume, taken down and sent for safekeeping during the war to Bradfield College, Berkshire, have been replaced in their original position as a memorial of the former use of this building. Sorry. There they are. This had two entrances, boys and girls, in its day. And that, ladies and gents, concludes our tour of the Mitre Tavern and Hatton Gardens in this interesting little area. So I hope you all found it interesting. Take care all, and I will see you all soon. During the 16th century, the grounds of Ely Place were gifted to Sir Christopher Hatton by Queen Elizabeth I, and this was later developed into the streets that form Hatton Garden as we recognise it now. Ely Place, circa 1850, a view of London with Ely Place. Interestingly enough, from the 1200s right up until the latter 18th century, although Ely Place is of course in London, because it was under the jurisdiction of the bishops of Ely, it was classed as Cambridgeshire, not London. So from the 1200s till the late 1700s, this little spot of London wasn't actually London, it was Cambridgeshire. Sort of passport to Pimlico vibes going on there. Ely Place, 28th of July 1932, home of St Etheldreda's Catholic Church, as we've already seen on the tour video of that one if you've watched it. But this is a nice view of the street with its little guard hut there. Duchess entertains, circa 1913, Winifred Anna Cavendish Bentinck, Duchess of Portland 1863 to 1954, and wife of the 6th Duke, gives a tea party for factory girls at St Etheldreda's Catholic Church. Wanted to include this one because it's a nice photo of the era and what happened in that area. A London Beadle, Ely Place, 1926. Now anyone that's watched Oliver Twist, you'll remember Mr Bumble the Beadle. Beadles were real people, and in their era they were law officers of a kind. By this era, of course, they were very much just ceremonial, but here is a London Beadle in Ely Place in 1926. This is a nice little picture. 3 little boys, December 1953. From left to right, Eugene de Freitas, Martin Tomlins and Salvador Pinto walk home from kindergarten at London's Convent School of St Etheldreda's Holborn, and this is in Ely Place. And our pub, the Olde Mitre Tavern. This is a nice image from the very early 20th century. A cigarette card showing our pub, but from 1929, the Mitre, Ely Place. And this is one of those little nooks that really has not changed since the time it went up. It's changed very little. Here we see a early 20th century photograph. 1958 this one, the Mitre. And as we see from my tour video and this image, things really haven't changed that much. And as we head off into Hatton Garden with our historical images, of course, an image of the man for whom it's named, Sir Christopher Hatton, famous Elizabethan courtier of his era, and very rich. And here we are, Hatton Garden, 1890s, very busy, then as now. I like this image because even today you'll see little groups of men on the street looking at jewellery and things like that, just like you see in 1929 here. These men examine precious stones while standing in the street of Hatton Garden area. A gold trader in the district around 1930. Area's decline began in the 1970s and 80s when gold prices were fluctuating. Hatton Garden during hard times, 1939, so the year that the war broke out. And our charity school, which was originally a church, then turned into a charity school and now serves as offices. Here it is in 1930, just 9 years before the Second World War, with its charity boy and girl statues in place, and they were taken down thankfully and taken into the countryside for safekeeping during the war. Because this is what happened to that building during the war. The school ablaze in 1944. After the war, of course, it was restored and gives us the building that we see today, which is very modern looking inside of office spaces, but still retains its original exterior and its charity boy and girl. Hope you've all enjoyed this little tour. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.